Hi, I'm Bart Hanson. I'm the owner and operator of CrushLivePoker.com. The following hand comes from our call-in show that we record at 4:45 p.m. Pacific Time every Monday. If you want to call in your hand, check out the phone number in the description.
This is at the
Okay.
right,
Yep.
2-5. All right, so start the hand with about 1100. Under the gun limps. He's been doing a few limp re-raises, so he limps. Also, a really tight player, he limps in the hijack. And
Okay.
I look down at 10-7 suited on the button. So I decided to limp behind as well. I'm
Okay.
not sure if that's a little too wide, but I just decided to limp behind and see what develops.
You
Blinds
know,
come
it,
along.
you know, the, I mean, it's just, what's your name again?
My name's Aaron.
Aaron. I mean, it's a little bit wide, but I have certainly made this play at a $5 level for sure. The idea is that you sort of, the hands that really like gap suited connectors are far below suited connectors, and then two gappers really don't have a ton of value, but I don't think it's that big of a deal. So you limp on the button with 10-7 of diamonds?
10-7 of clubs.
Clubs, okay.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, so the blinds come along, so we go 5-way to the flop.
Okay.
The flop is Queen 8-6, rainbow.
Queen 8
So-
6 rainbow, okay.
We have a gut shot in the back door, flush draw. So
Okay.
it checks to me. So I decided to check behind. No point in blowing this pot up with a gut shot or anything. So I just decided to check behind.
Right. You
Because
also
like I
don't.
say, the
You also
table's
don't
really
have a.
soft.
You also just. You mean you don't have a gut shot to the nuts too. Just as.
Right,
Yeah, right.
right. Jack 10 will
Right.
be the nuts. If,
Right.
that's the same thing I looked at. So, and like I said, the table's pretty soft. We're 5-way. What's a bet going to accomplish? So I decided to check behind.
Yeah, I like it.
All right, the turn's the 9 of spades, putting a backdoor flush draw, spades. So I don't have that, but it
So you-
puts a
so you-
backdoor spade draw out there.
Right. So you turn the second nuts, right?
Right.
With 10-7. Do you remember what the flop was, like the distribution of suits at all? Off the
Actually,
top
I
of
do. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Queen of hearts, 8 of spades, 6 of clubs.
Okay, cool. So 6 of clubs. Okay. The reason why I asked that is because when you get into these scenarios where if it might run out a backdoor flush, it is important to know which cards are which suits because of how often somebody's going to call or bet with top pair, middle pair, bottom pair, etc., etc. But all right, so Queen of Hearts, 8 of spades, 6 of clubs, 9 of spades. You've turned 10-7 and got checked around on the flop. Go ahead.
Right. So the big blind, he leads for about actually a little over the pot. He led for 30
Okay.
to be exact
Okay.
on the turn.
Yep.
All right. The hijack calls. He raises to 70. I'm sorry. The hijack calls. The hijack just calls.
Mhm.
And so it's to me. And the big blind's only playing about, I think he was playing about like 150. And I remember looking at one of your podcasts, or it was a video, and I saw where you were talking about where where it was a spot on the turn where you thought about like where you could have got more money if you would have just clicked it. And so I decided to take that line to build a pot, even though I knew Jack 10 was beating me at the point. I wanted to get value from like two pairs.
Oh, I
and
would,
also,
Aaron. I would
flush
definitely,
draws.
I would definitely raise in your spot here, especially when you said the big blind only has 150. I mean, if he's got Jack 10, he's got Jack 10, whatever. You have a 10 in your hand, right?
Right.
There are several. There's an open-ended straight draw out there with. By the way, anyone who has a 10 is actually there's a one-card double gut out here. So Queen 8-6-9. Someone with has a 10 is open-ended to a 7 and to a 10. Of course, that's what you have in your hand, right? 10-7. So, and there's a second spade out there. I would definitely raise here, probably to like maybe 80 to 90. Did you say you made it 70?
Yes, I made it
Okay.
70.
It's a little bit on the small side, but okay.
Yeah, I was thinking that probably could have went a little bigger, but
Yeah.
I wasn't sure. I don't really have too much experience with limp pot.
Mm-hmm.
I only started doing. I got some advice from a few people who play, and they were telling me like, when it's really soft, you got position limp behind.
Right.
You
You don't
if the
wanna-
hand's like
right.
10-7 suited.
Right, you don't want to raise 10-7 a club. It's not strong enough, but you can overlimp it. So you make it 70.
I make it 70. The big blind, I guess he doesn't notice, but he throws in 135. leaving 15 behind, but he did it by mistake. You know, he didn't notice like he had 15 left.
He meant to go all in,
Uh,
right?
he meant to go all in, but
So I'm just going to
but
put that
he
he goes
didn't.
all in. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So the hijack just calls now. You know, when the hijack just called there. Now this is the main part I wanted to call you
Sure.
about because, like I said, the hijack I played with him a few times before, more on the tighter side. Like I'm always able to kind of guess his hand strength and get away.
Yeah.
But I was just thinking,
You're concerned.
Do we raise again?
Yeah, you're
here?
concerned here about Jack 10, obviously, right? So you guys are
Obviously,
1100.
Go ahead.
Yeah, you're 1100 effective, right? And it's a limp pot. You're 1100 effective with the hijack, right? And you say he's on the tighter side, and it's
Correct.
Queen 8, 6, 9, and he just cold calls. I probably would now. I think I would just call. I mean, the draws are all out there, Aaron. Like, you can see them. And what I mean is that at this stack depth in a limp pot, you definitely don't want to overplay here. You sort of want to protect your stack. And, you know, unless he's got some sort of crazy draw, you're not going to, like, lose a ton of value. Unless he's a moron. Like, what are you going to, 3-bet and he's going to call you with 8-9 for 2 pair? I mean, you look like you have the nuts when you 3-bet. You know what I mean? So
Correct.
it could be unbalanced when people will say, well, you're only 3-betting when you're, if you 3-bet here, then you only have the nuts. So what? That happens in live poker. It's fine. I probably would call here now.
Okay, and that's what I did.
Okay,
I just
cool.
called.
Yep.
What I was wondering there, am I missing value by just calling? Because like I said, when he reflects again,
Right.
I thought he could still have Jack 10 intact because he knows I can be pretty aggressive, but I wasn't even taking that too much into account because I know most low level players aren't thinking any of this.
Let me give you
a lot of people would be thinking.
Let me give you a tip, though. I don't know what's going to happen. Obviously, I don't know this hand, but what I will say, so if you did just call, if the river comes off a total brick and now all of a sudden the hijack comes out and bets like 400 or 500 into a dry side pot, I would fold. If the hint is what he has with Jack 10, if his cold called the 3-bet all in, and now he comes out and bets on a blank river with nothing to win, I would pitch 10-7. I don't know if that's going to happen, but I just want to tell you. So what happened on the river? What's the river?
I like that, and that's kind of how I thought about it.
Yeah.
So I did just call on the turn.
Uh-huh.
All right. So the river's the 8, another 8.
Okay.
8 of diamonds, pairing the board.
Yep.
So of course, if he had a set, he got us. Still,
Yep.
if he has Jack 10, he has it.
Yep.
So the big blind, knowing that he still had $15 back, he throws the $15 in, and the hijack just called. And so when the hijack just called there, I thought about it for a second, but I know he doesn't have a full house by the way he plays. And I'm looking at the board, and I realize it is a limp pot. So
here's the thing. So
man,
Aaron,
I'm thinking like
I'm going to give
5-7 here as well.
I'm going to give you a hint. Oh yeah, 5-7, but of course is a smaller straight too. But what I would say here, first of all, when there's like a min bet, so this is an accidental min bet. If you're ever in this spot in live poker, just treat this as a check. Okay, so.
Right.
This is almost like, forget about the fact that the big blind had 15. This is almost like, let's say the big blind was all in and then the guy called all in and you just called and then it went check and now the guy in the middle checks to you. And now the question is that should we value bet here, right? Because here's the thing though, I feel like I'm one of the thinnest value bettors in the world, but your concern here is of when you didn't 3-bet turn, which I think is probably very close, but fine, that he could have Jack 10, and also too, he might now have a full house in one of those 2 pair types of hands that cold called. So there's that, and then there's also the fact that if he has Jack 10 now, he might be scared that you're full because he just called in between. So I got to tell you, I might be nuts here, but I would just check it back. And what I mean by checking it back is I would just call the 15 myself. You also have to worry about the big blind, too. Because the big blind now, if he had Jack 10 or if he fills, there's nothing in the pot that you're going to win, right? So.
Oh, okay. I see what you mean. Okay, so the big blind had, yeah, that's who I thought would have Jack 10 more often
Uh-huh.
as played would be the big blind.
Now, some people in the chat are
I didn't think
saying,
the hijack had it.
I mean, some people in the chat are saying, oh, you could be losing value, but what do you, I mean, I guess he could have 5-7 here. And
5-7, Queen 9, Queen 8 filled up, but I thought Queen 9, 5-7.
yeah,
We blocked 5-7. So, you know, and like I say, he limps, but more on the tighter side. He doesn't really have 5-7 off. So I thought 5-7 suited.
right. And
Queen
then,
9 suited.
but then the other thing though too is you have to think of, and I know that a lot of mid stakes, low stakes players, but this is whatever a high. I mean, it's a mid stakes game. A lot of those guys like. What does it look like when you bet the river with a dry side pot when the board pairs? Do you see what I'm saying? Like it's like now you look
Right.
super strong if you're betting. So 10-7's probably pretty close. It's probably pretty close.
It's close.
Yeah.
I went for thin, Bart. I'm a thin kind of guy.
Okay.
I went for thin. I didn't go too big. This is definitely a hand if we raise and get back raise here against this guy. We got to fold. But so I went for thin. I made it 100.
Uh-huh.
And he tanked about it, and he called, and he had 5-7 a diamond.
Oh, nice.
So we took the side pot, and the big blind had Queen 6 off.
Right. Oh, so Queen 6, so you still won the whole thing.
Yeah, we stooped the whole pot. Like my concern was, were we missing value on the turn, and also is that too thin on the river? Because I would think, as nitty as this guy is, he might even just call with the Jack 10 on the river.
Well, it's
But
interesting
as played
because
on the turn, does he ever have Jack 10?
right, it was interesting because on the flop, I didn't, for some reason, 5-7 didn't click in my head as a hand that would obviously that you beat here. So I think a case could be made that you could 3-bet turn. If he's any type of player, though, he really should fold because, like, the thing is that, like, it's not like you're betting Jack 10 on the button 5 ways for the same reasons that you check 10-7, right? It's just a gut shot.
Right.
So if I'm him and like, on the turn you raise and then the big blind goes all in and he calls and now you 3-bet, like should he call there with 5-7? Do you know what I mean? Like it's like he probably shouldn't, but you got more value than it looks like. I might have pussied out, which is kind of interesting because I'm usually towards the opposite way where I value own myself too much, which means like betting hands for value.
Think that was more exploitive though, right there.
Yeah.
Just me knowing that he's capped at that point, especially how he just called on the turn, and then especially like you said, the 15 on the river, I really treated it as a check.
Good. Well, that's
and
good.
That's why I just went for thin.
Hey guys, if you like what you've seen here, please click on the subscribe button and you'll get notified every time we put up a new video. And if you want to check out crushlivepoker.com for the first month free, use the code YTA200. Click on the link right there.